be something different as well. I'm coming to you today talking about businesses and business relationships. I have an entrepreneur here with me. I'm gonna let him introduce himself, and then I'm gonna kind of ask some questions. We're gonna dive into a little bit of what he's been doing, what he's currently doing, and his future plans. And we're gonna see what we can do to support everything he has going on and everything everybody else has going on that's connected to him. I appreciate y'all tuning in as usual. Y'all watching. Y'all know any questions y'all have, y'all can ask and we will answer. And if we can't get the answer, we will find the answer. And I'll come back and post the answer that I found. So without further ado, I'm going to let him introduce himself and talk a little bit about what he has going on. And then I'll ask questions and then we'll just go from there. And if y'all have any questions, just go ahead and put them in there. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe because y'all know how I do. All
Absolutely.
right, so you go right ahead and introduce yourself, sir, and just kind of talk about a little bit about what you do.
What's going on, Cree 2-1 Boom fans? Right, I got plugged that all day. Um, I'm Vic Hall, serial entrepreneur, originally from West Baltimore, Maryland. Did 15 and a half years in the military, active duty Army. Ended up settling here in Coppers Cove, Texas. Since then, I've been pretty much serving as in many capacities, a community activist, civic service. Um, I call myself a leader. I recently ran for city council in Coppers Cove. Um, had a good experience with that. But I'm a program analyst for the Veterans Affairs, but I'm also an entrepreneur. Like I mentioned earlier, I have a catering company called Queenie's Kitchen. Do a lot of home cooking with Queenie's Kitchen. I also am the creator, co-creator of a podcast called The Black Hippie Show. I am a co-owner of Freight Warriors Freight Company, co-owner of Misguided Culture Clothing. It's a social apparel company. And more recently, here we have our next show, which is All Emotions Aside, which is a new show podcast that we'll be launching here in May. And Cree 2-1 Boom is one of my lovely cast members and co-hosts on the show. So excited about big things coming. Excited about serving the community, and I'll continue to be um, living in an entrepreneurial spirit.
Well, I'd like to thank you for all that you are doing, all that you have done for the community. I am very grateful. We need more men such as yourself out here giving of themselves because you know there are givers and takers.
Absolutely.
And you, sir, are a giver. And I appreciate you for giving your girl, Cree 2 Boom, the opportunity to be a part of what you're doing future wise. I am forever grateful. But I want to get a little bit of history from you. So, what inspired you to start like several businesses? Like you said, serial entrepreneur. So, what inspired you to do such?
That's a great question. My kids, I'm a father of 11, and my goal, yeah, I'll let it sit for a second. Yeah. So, yeah,
Employ them all. Put them all
yeah.
to work.
So I'm a father of 11, right? So again, coming up from West Baltimore, you don't have many examples of business persons outside of drug dealers. Yeah, I come from a family of career criminals who they
Mm.
chose a profession of crime. But I think that ultimately I come from a family of entrepreneurial spirits. They
Mm.
just kind of chose not to use it in the right way. But again, being a father, my goal, number one goal, is to have a business to pass down to each one of my kids. That's my motivation. But I think the why initially was I don't like working for individuals. I know it's required to a certain point, but my goal is to not stay employed by a corporation or individual for the rest of my life, and I don't want to pass that on to my kids. I definitely want to change that generational mindset, right, to where we have to go to work. I encourage my kids to find creative ways of earning income. So I need to be the example of that. So that's what I'm
I
doing.
think that is so dope. I think that is so dope. Some would like cringe when you say I got 11 kids. God wants us to be fruitful and multiply.
I
As
learned
long
that
as
from
you
my
are
mama.
taking care of said kids, and as
Yeah,
long as you are raising these
sure.
children, and you sound like you are actively in their lives, and you're also teaching them to break generational curses, which I mean, generations have just repeated the cycle over and over and over again. And it takes a special individual, and I think God chose an individual to step out of generations of bull crap and to come and create something that's positive and productive for your tribe.
Absolutely. For sure.
I love that.
And that's the thing is, it's easy to have that mindset. So it's no fault to nobody's, but I just chose to kind of get out of that. So that's what I'm doing.
Individual thinkers, that's always going to be a positive quality to have,
Yeah,
because you have the leaders and the followers. And I think they're both needed,
for
but
sure.
the leaders are absolutely going to stand out, just like the followers. Now, how did you come up with some of your business ideas?
I don't rest at night. So most of my thinking occurs between the hours of 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. But um, I'm a servant, so everything that I come up with is all about serving people, right? It might be a unique way of serving people, like a clothing brand, right?
Mhm.
Misguided Culture is not just a clothing brand; it's a social apparel company. So the premise behind the name and the approach is to have a conversation with every piece of clothing that we design, right? So every T-shirt, every hat, every logo, every design has a conversation. So the conversation isn't for me. The conversation is for the community to have a better understanding, right?
Nope.
Uh, Go
I
ahead.
just want to ask, what's the website or information to assess your clothing brand? Let's put that
So
out there.
I'll drop it in a second because I gotta.
Okay.
It's pretty long.
Okay.
um, but ultimately, when it comes down to, like I said, same thing with Freight Warriors. Freight Warriors was a way to provide services to the community, and then on top of that, provide opportunities to young men or women who wanted to get into the transportation industry. So we provided jobs for, I think we had at one point 8 employees, 8 young men under the age of 25.
Are you
Um,
still current, or this was
we put a halt on it for right now. We had
okay?
some contractual issues with one of the providers, the carriers that we work with. So we put a halt on it for right now, but it's still there for us when we want to pick it back up. But again, we were teaching the youth. Um, Queenie's Kitchen is all about service. I love to cook. I want to see people with a smile on their face enjoying my food. So everything in me is about serving the community. And again, and being an example for my kids.
How do you manage the family time and all these businesses and stuff? Like, I know
I
you
see.
say you don't sleep, but you have to sleep. Your body will shut down on you eventually. How do
Yeah,
you do the time management?
I try to incorporate my kids in as much of it as I can. My kids are actually working on their brand, which is a spinoff of Misguided Culture, Misguided Youth. Should be coming pretty soon. So I try to incorporate my family time with the business as well. My oldest son, he's in culinary art school at CTC right now, so he's helped me with Queenie's Kitchen. My oldest daughter, she helps me with Queenie's Kitchen. So I try to incorporate them in everything that I do, one way or another. Um, Again, to continue that family time or that quality time, and again teach them the ins and outs as much as I can.
So you kind of touched up on it a little bit, but when you started all this, and you did speak about it, what was the mission or the vision for it all?
Yeah, be able to give something to my babies, hand it down. I don't want them to feel bound to one way of living or one way of thinking. Right, so they have options. They can go to school and do the traditional thing, but they also have the opportunity to run their own business if they want to. They don't have to do it, right? It's not mandatory, but I want to give them options, quality options that they can use to have live a high quality life.
And that's dope. A lot of us didn't have those options growing
Right.
up. So to
Right.
be able to give your child that is pretty dope. Like, I think as a parent, if we can give our kids some knowledge and a better way of doing things, that would mean way more than buying them the freshest sneakers, giving them a house. Because we know if you spoil the kid, they're going to be an ungrateful one for the most part. And
Yeah.
if you make them earn it, work for it, and give them the knowledge to provide for themselves, they're going to appreciate you in the long run. Because it's like, now they have all this knowledge they can share with their kids instead of just
Mhm.
giving stuff away. Because this generation of kids are pretty lost, like in my opinion. They just want handouts. So, who do you look up to as a business role model?
I look up to people in the community. I don't have
Mm.
just one. Like my best friend, you had him on. I think last week, Teddy. I look up to that guy. He's younger than me, but I feel like you should have mentorship older than you, and you should have mentorship younger than you, right? So he's not that much younger than me, but he's my little brother. But I look up to him and the things, the things that he's tried. Man, my boy, he will try anything. What I'm saying? We always have something brewing. We got some other stuff coming too, but we always have something brewing. So he always, like, we bounce things off each other. We feed each other's energy when it comes down to that spirit of entrepreneurship. But then I look at people like Ronnie Russell in the community, the president and CEO of Innovation Chamber of Commerce. I had a great relationship with the Honorable Elijah Cummings, a representative congressman from the state of Maryland. I had a great relationship with him. He's a motivator. So I use people that have been in and out of my life in different periods of my life as that motivation. And I always try to just refer to what would they do, or what would their mindset be if they wanted to attack something. So it's not just one person; it's a community of people that I've built over my lifetime.
I think that's absolutely a true statement where you said you have to look up to older and younger because we can still learn. I don't think you can ever stop learning. You're gonna always be able to learn and take things, positive things and negative things from older and the younger
Yeah.
communities. Look at my list. How have you grown your brand so far?
So again, depending on which one it is, I think the biggest one that we have right now is going to be misguided culture. Misguided culture. We've continuously talked about it. We don't do well at social media, but we do well at the word of mouth and wearing our brand and making that part of our lives. You'll be hard pressed to find me without a misguided culture shirt on or a hat on or something like that, wearing my brand, talking about it. And again, it's a conversation. When people ask, why is it spelled like this or why is it situated like that, we
Mhm.
talk. The other one, Queenie's Kitchen, I've done really well with Queenie's Kitchen. It's about customer service. I think both of those are about customer service. It's about meeting the needs of the consumer, your stakeholder on that side, meeting the needs of the stakeholder, making sure you provide good customer service. So for me, that's what everything is about: the customer experience, making the customer feel good, and making sure that you not appease them, but you value them, and you make sure your brand um, speaks to them or includes them or has them in mind. So yeah,
How do you do that again?
listen. I listen. I don't ever do any. I have the idea, but the brand isn't about me. So again, when I'm looking at, I'm not when I'm cooking my meals, I'm not cooking for Victor, right? When I'm cooking my meal, I'm cooking for the person on the other end of the experience. So I have to keep that in mind. So yeah, I might like it heavy salt, but majority of the people may not like heavy salt. So I'm always keeping the stakeholders in mind. And what's this presentation, taste, customer service, the whole 9 yards. I'm always thinking about the stakeholder on the other side. So it's easy. Be selfless.
Mm. Okay, so I know you have a lot of things that you've done and you have going on. So, what is one thing that you wish you knew before you started any of the businesses?
I would say Freight Warriors was the biggest learning lesson. I wish I knew how cutthroat the trucking industry is. And I get it because there's a lot of money involved in it. But I did not know. We underestimated how cutthroat that industry is. It's a lot
You
of
want to
low
share an
ballers.
experience?
Heck yeah. I'll talk about this contract we had with this one company, very well known appliance company, um, and we came through the door killing it. Organized, got the team right, training good. They were threatened by it. They were threatened
Mm-hmm.
by the presence of these young black men. Let's call it what it is. They were threatened by the presence of these young black men coming in. We had the attention of the higher ups because we were killing it. The higher ups was like, who's this coming? Who's the freight warriors? Who are freight warriors? They was coming down, wanting to meet with us and get insight. They started sabotaging us. It's certain rules when you have new when you're a new company within this company within this when you're a new subcontractor with this company. There are rules to how your routes are supposed to be distributed, but you're supposed to have close routes. You're not supposed to have routes that go wide, far and wide. They were sending out to Brownsville, freaking College Station. They were sending us all over the place. Had our map all over the place with new trainers. We were training new people. Well, you're not supposed to do that. And the more we complained, they started taking routes away from us, dropping routes. They were sending us into hick towns where we had people, racist people, threatening to call the police on us. I had to call the police on people. Customer service wasn't trying to support us. It was a mess. They did everything they could to drive us out. Um, and we decided, again, to protect ourselves and our employees to pull from that contract and try to
Mm.
find a better contract. But again, we made so much money in such a short period of time, and we had such an influence and such an impact, they didn't like it. Um, and sabotage happened.
So are you done with that? That sounds like something that
No,
you
I
have
wouldn't
to
say
deal with
I
the
wouldn't
failure,
say
but you just said, I'm over it. Like,
no. Again, I just think that it was in the best interest of because it became a safety issue, right? It
mm,
became a safety issue and a financial concern because when they started dropping our routes, we had to come out of pocket to pay out.
ah,
So when you go from making $5,000 to $6,000 a week on this route to making $2,000 a week on the route, or $1,500 a week on a route, and we still have payroll, it didn't make sense for us to continue. So we decided to pause and regroup and get educated some more, get some more mentorship before we relaunch it again.
so what tools or systems did you use to protect you or to protect y'all?
The biggest thing was mentorship and guidance. We had some people that we were able to reach out to kind of help coach us through the process and what we were experiencing. And we listened. And again, that helped us make that determination to set our pride aside
Mm.
and not keep going down, with the act of sabotage that was projected towards us. So instead of us continue to go down that route with them and fighting and losing so much for our pride, it was, again, with the people, the coaches that we had involved, the mentorship we had, again, we just decided to go ahead and pause, not fold, not quit. Let's pause and regroup until we get a better situation for us.
So how do you guys like set goals and track y'all progress?
So for us, like for me personally, I have KPIs, like key progression indicators that I use, and I set my stuff up quarterly. Right. So every quarter, I want to accomplish certain things. So for me, it's I pick a thing for the quarter and I work on it every single day. And my goal is to hit those deadlines either before or at the target. And then after that's resolved, then I can assess and then go to my next target goal. If I priority shift sometimes, so if priority shift, I just kind of regroup and I might take that quarterly um, goal or that quarterly KPI metrics and shift it to semi-annually. If I shift it to semi-annually, then I just make an adjust from there. For me, the um, the success is determined by not just the accomplishment but the impact.
Hmm.
So once I have accomplished my goal, because you can start a business by just getting an LLC and the EIN. You got a business, right? It's done.
That's
But
it.
what's the impact? Is it making an impact? Am I continuously being sought after? Um, is my quality good? Is my customer service good? So once those KPIs are met, then I feel like it's successful. And then from there, it's just sustaining that success from that point forward.
So actively right now, what businesses do you have going on so people
Misguided,
can support?
misguided culture. Let me put that in there. So that's misguided culture and Queenie's Kitchen, and then we have Zone 29 Media, which is the owner of Black Hippie and the All Emotions Aside podcast
Where are you putting that at?
in the chat.
Okay. Uh guys, y'all watching, y'all listening, y'all looking. I need y'all to support, support, support. Y'all know how we want to ride for our people. And for whatever reason, we struggle in this area. But if you listen to my podcast, we're gonna do something about that. We're gonna make a difference. We're gonna change that narrative. Okay. And I want to talk a little about the podcast that's coming up, the live podcast, how that looks, uh, the vision for it, how many people, the
Yeah,
facility holds. Uh, just know your girl gonna be on the panel, so I'm gonna need y'all to come out and support me. And I know where y'all live at. If I gotta come knock on the door and be like, "Hey, let's go." So,
yeah. So, all right. Again, I don't rest. I rest when I die. So, um, again, so for me, it's always triggered by something.
okay,
So the initial thought was triggered by everything that's happening in politics, and everything that's happening locally, right? I feel like conversations um, help steer or drive the impact or help motivate the impact. Again, a key word for me is always impact. So conversations for me feed and drive and steer towards impact. And I don't feel like we talk enough about. Well, I don't feel like we have real conversations about the issues that we have in life, the issues that we face every single day as a community, as a country. So I wanted to determine what was the best way for me to make an impact in that area. And I know people like podcasts and talk shows, right? So we already have Black Hippie. Black Hippie is his own thing, but I also saw the success of a show like tonight's conversation, where you have a diverse panel of different thinkers, right? Individual thinkers on one set, and how that gained popularity and success because you have that diversity. So I figured, like, what if we do the same thing with a general interest talk show, kind of like The View, kind of like The Talk, right? But more with a group of people who can relate to the community as a whole, right? I think with The Talk and The View, it's a narrow demographic of people that reaches that or that show reaches. But for me, what I wanted to do was reach a demographic that's far and wide, with people that look like us, and so we can relate to them and connect to them. So that was the thought process of the show itself. But then here comes the name. I was going back and forth with why are conversations not fruitful typically, and for me, it boils down to emotions. A lot of people lead with emotions instead of logic, instead of fact, instead of fact based exercises or evaluations. Like, they don't take time to really just go through their thought process. It's emotion. Emotions trigger these conversations, and then it becomes shut down, and people fight and all the good stuff like that. Icebergs are ran into, all that kind of resiliency stuff is ignored, and then you have an empty conversation, a fruitless conversation, a low impact conversation. So I was like, "Oh, you know what if we take emotions out of it? All emotions aside." Right? So when you put emotions aside and you lead a conversation, or you have a take on a topic that's associated with logic, facts, right? Then I think you can have a strong, robust conversation that at the end can have an impact on the person that's leading the conversation, or the person that's on the other side of the conversation, or people in earshot of the conversation who are just there for the conversation. They should leave thinking differently or feeling differently about how they can then go and act on making improvements. So again, the goal,
impact.
right? Impact. The goal is to everyone who leaves the show, they will be compelled to make a change in their lives individually or in their community. Um, but
So, what do you say to somebody who just operates in their feelings? Like, it's hard talking to these people. I'm telling you, because I've talked to them in the streets, and I'm just like, that doesn't make it real because you feel it. Doesn't make it real because you thought it. Doesn't make it real because you're saying it out of your mouth. Like, come back to reality, friend. Come back.
I tell them get over themselves, right? Seriously, because like you said, like, just because you say it, I think it don't. When people say, "Well, I feel like," I'll listen to them. Be like, yeah, that's how you feel. You feel your heartbeat, right? You can feel your heartbeat, but does your heartbeat tell you that you have high blood pressure? Not by
Right.
feeling it. You know what I'm saying? Not by feeling it. Like, so what you feel don't always meet reality, right? So at some point, you got to have your feelings match reality. And the reality of it is, we're in a crisis as a community. We need to stick together more. We need to have crucial conversations. We need to stop finger pointing. We need to exercise some self responsibility, some personal responsibility, and some self accountability. That's not emotions. That's facts. We've gone so far away from being a community of responsibility into a community of projection. So yeah,
Mm.
I'll say get over yourself, shorty. Like I don't have time for it.
That's gonna get them in their feelings even more.
And the thing about it, it's okay. So let's talk it out. Like
Right.
why did what I say impact you like so deep? I have crucial conversations with myself a lot, right? When you look in the mirror, you have a conversation. That I ain't gonna, I'll give you my secret. I have a conversation with myself in the mirror. If I look away, I'm about to lie to myself.
Mm.
So I force myself to look at myself while I say these things. And then if I continue to lie, I should feel something inside like, bro, that's not real. Keep talking. You know what I'm saying? Keep talking to yourself and have this conversation. A lot of times we're not faced with reality. We hide behind emotions, right? We don't face facts. We hide behind emotions. So take it out.
I like that. Hopefully, I can be successful in doing that for the show.
Yeah, I think you will. Like, yeah, I don't see you being a person that leads with emotions. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you're not emotional. Not saying that you
Right.
don't have emotions.
Right.
We all
Right.
have emotions. Like I tell my kids all the time, yo, I cry. You won't see me cry. I go in my closet. I got big enough a closet where I can close the door and cry. But I cry. Right? I cry. I pray. I worry. I stress. But the
All those
reality,
things, right? All those things. I think a lot of times too. I think one important thing you said is just getting a different perspective. Like a lot of people think, however they feel, whatever they think, that's it, the end. They're not even
yeah,
open to hearing somebody else share an experience that they had just like them, and
yeah.
this is how they looked at it. This is how they dealt with it. And if they can deal with it and look at it in a positive manner, guess what? So can you.
So
I
that,
kind
that
of
means you
strive
like
to look
growth.
for the positive in any situation that I go through, and that's why your thing back there says sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. And
Yeah.
if you even look at it like that, like that's already opening your mind to looking at it from a different angle.
But I
So
think that people lack having a growth mindset.
yeah,
Right? If you don't have a growth mindset, you dead. Right?
yeah, because a lot
Period.
of people have victim mindsets.
Yeah.
It's so many of those because this happened to me. That's why I'm this way.
Yeah.
Because
Woe
that
was
happened
you.
to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think at the very least, if we can get people out of the victim mindset, hey, we're doing something huge, for real.
Yeah. For sure.
So uh we're gonna end this interview because I have something big we need to talk about coming up after this. But I do need you to drop your information for your company,
Hmm.
the clothing company, the food company, and the podcast stuff. Just the name of it, and let them know when we're gonna be debuting if that's okay. Um, Other than that, I really
Got it.
appreciate you coming on. And everything you're doing is amazing. I'll always tell you that you have to give people their flowers while they're alive. I think it's dope. I hope that a lot of young men and women can come watch us and be a part and start thinking and doing better for their lives because there's some stuff going on out here that we need to come up out of. Like it's a lot of us just still stuck in that mentality. And I think and I always say on my show, if I could touch one person, I did something. You know what I mean? So, and we
Impact.
touch one person and they can touch one more person and they can touch one more and just keep it going because we need to keep growing instead of going backwards. So, thank you again. You have any last comments you want to put out there? You go right ahead, brother.
So again, first, thank you, Cree 2-1 Boom, for having me, man. Like it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for saying yes to being a part of the All Emotions Aside crew. So again, with that, All Emotions Aside will premiere May 31st. It's going to be at Elevated Event Center in Killeen, Texas, and I'm gonna drop that information here shortly. I'm waiting for it to come up. But again, it's going to be a live show. It's going to be a vibe. It's going to be an experience for everyone. So again, please make sure that you get your tickets. Tickets will start going on sale tonight.
Tonight. Also, there'll be food and music. It's going to be a celebration. It's not going to be all serious conversation, guys. We still know Black folks love to party.
Can I give the rundown real quick?
Give it to them. Go ahead.
All right, so from 6 to about 6:45, we'll have a pre-show social, which is going there, network, chill, talk, vibe out, right? Light music, right? Then from there, from 7 to about 8 o'clock, we'll have the show. After the show, we'll have an after party. Um,
The shows.
we're gonna have again DJ, photographer, food, VIP sections. Again, it's gonna be a vibe, and it's not expensive. The first show we only selling for $10. VIP, have all those VIP ticket prices and all the good stuff like that. But definitely go ahead and get your tickets. This thing is not pulling up for me. I don't know why.
Oh,
It's stressing me out, but it's all good. No, I got it right here.
don't worry.
So
If he can't get it, I'm going to get it to y'all.
I got it right here, dropping it right
Okay.
now. So get your tickets off a ticket stripe at All Emotions Aside. Again, tickets go on sale tonight. If you see the link right now, you can go ahead and buy your tickets now.
Go on and put
And
that
again,
link in there.
isn't there?
I
You don't
don't
see
see
it?
it in the comments. Mm. But it's probably on the
Oh,
Facebook.
you know what? Haha, it's in a private chat.
Oh my gosh. Come on.
I got
Oh my gosh. This is what I'm seeing in the private chat.
Yeah, that's what you see in the private chat. But guess what? I'm going over here right now.
Fix it. Fix it.
I think I got it. No, it won't only let me open the private chat. It's not letting me put anything in the comments.
What? All right. So what
Yeah.
I'll do is I'll post it. Uh-oh. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'll post it on my page. Don't worry about it. I got it.
Okay. All
As a
right.
matter of fact,
Well,
I'll just
again,
put all that information on my page and start promoting today.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. You have a good day.
All right. Likewise.
All right. And y'all remember to stay sucker free like Cree. I'll be right back with something very serious. All right. I'm gonna try to keep my smile on, but there's some sad stuff going on out here. All right. So I'll catch y'all in about 5 minutes. All right, Vic. Thank you again, sir. And you have an
All right,
amazing day. And I get
you
with you
too.
soon. All right.
All right. Peace.
All righty.